Okay, good Tavach, everyone. We are actually recording for Erev Shabbos. I didn't get a chance on Erev Shabbos to record. We're recording for Erev Shabbos, the Mishna Yomis in Avoda Zara, Perek Beis, Mishna Hey and Mishna Vav, sponsored by the Fish family, Lina Nishmas Basya Bas Rabit, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruven, also Lila Nishmas David ben Chaim, L'Refuah Shalema for Yomis Mechai Sarah, Yaakov ben Basya Leah, for the schus of Avram and Yom Benish B'Malk Yudis and family, also by Yokum and family for the Parnas Gzun Nachas, L'Refuah Shalema for Mishmei ben Esther Fradel, for Rivka Bashir Leah, Avigdor Arya ben Rivka Hinda Bas Chaya Sarah, Rivka Bashir Leah, Chana Bas Shashabina, and Meir ben Chaya Sarah. They should have a Refuah Shalema B'Seich She'achil Yisrael. So the Mishnah tells us, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Shal Rabbi Yishmael es Rabbi Yeshua. Rabbi Yishmael inquired of Rabbi Yeshua Kishoyim Halchim Maderech when they were traveling. Amalai, he said to him, Mipnei ma osru gvinas ha'ovdei kechav. Since you say that it's not osur bahana, so why is the cheese of idolaters osur? I mean, if it would be that they curdled it from the rennet of calves that are go to Avoda Zara, then it should be also even bahana benefit. Amalai mipnei sheman midan isa kevish on nevela, because they curdle it with the rennet of nevela, of an animal that was without shchita. Amalai, so he says, but the rennet is distinct from the animal. The proof is v'halai kevas oila. The rennet of a burnt offering, chamura mekevas nevela, is more severe than the rennet of nevela, because the oila, of course, is asur bahana, while the nevela is only asur bachila. V'amru, and yet we say kayin shedaita yafa, kayin that's not squeamish, so sarfa chaya will swallow the rennet live. So you see that it's considered distinct from the oila itself. So then why is the rennet of a nevela, which is distinct from the nevela, why does it make the cheese forbidden? And now, even though v'loi haidulai, even though they didn't agree with the fact that the kohen could swallow the rennet of an oila, but avalamro ain't net, and you just can't benefit from the rabbanan v'loi mailam, but there's no mila b'doraisa. Chazar amalai. So then he told him, Rabbi Yeshua told him, because they curdled it with the rennet of calves of Avoda Zara. But that's a problem, because if that's the reason, like we said, then it should be forbidden to benefit too. And that's right away what Rabbi Shmuel countered. Now the fact of the matter is the reason was because they made a recent decree, because they would curdle it with the actual skin of the nevela. Now the skin of the nevela, that isn't distinct, and that's awesome. But he didn't want to tell him the reason, because when you promote a new decree, you don't say the reason until it becomes the custom. Otherwise people will say, that's not a reason to make it prohibited, and they won't take it seriously. Because he didn't want to talk about the reason, he changed the subject. Amalai. And he said to him, Yishmael Achi, Yishmael my brother, Heich ata koreh. How do we read the pasuk in Shir HaShirim? Do we read it, Ki toivim doidecha miyayin, Hashem yishakeni min neshichas picha, kiss me with the kisses of your mouth, Ki toivim doidecha miyayin, because your love is better than wine. And it's talking directly to Hashem. Or do we read it, Ki toivim doidayach? Rather, it says that we hope that Hashem will kiss us with the kisses of His mouth, because Hashem says that His love to Klal Yisrael is more than wine, but not that we're addressing it directly to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Amalai, so Rabbi Yishmael answered, Ki tovim doidayach. However, Rabbi Yeshua says it's not so. Amalai ein adavar kain, because we have to look at the in context. Shari chaveira malamed olav. What it says next to it proves that it's talking directly to Hashem, because it says l'reach shmonecha tovim. The fragrance of your oils are good. So since that's said directly to Hashem, so here also Tovim Dodecha Miyoyin is said directly to Hashem, for your love is more sweeter than wine. Now, Elu Dvarim Shaloiv Dekechav Masurin, the following of Goyim are Aser, but Ve'eni Surin Isra Ana. But it's not Aser to benefit, it's only Aser Ba'achila. Chalav Shechalavai Oiv Dekechavim, milk that's milked by Goyim, Ve'en Yisrael Ra'eu. When a Yid is not there to supervise. Now, even though the milk of a non-kosher animal is a different color, it's an off-white, but we're afraid if nobody's watching, they'll mix in some of the cheaper non-kosher milk. V'apas v'Hashem shalahem, their bread and their oil, even if there's no worry about kashrus, it was baked with supervision, but this was an anti-assimilation decree that if we don't break bread with them and we don't eat of their oil, then our boys are not going to notice their daughters, because if you go to the Goyish boss and you want to show them you have a big family, and then the boss notices the boss's daughter and your son, have chemistry, it could lead to disaster. However, Rebbe Bezdino Itira Bashemen, they saw that the decree against the oil was Gzeira Shein at Tzibur Yochel Lamed Ba, and therefore they nullified the decree against the oil. Shlokais is cooked food, and this is talking about where the food was cooked, even though we know it was kosher, but it's again a gzeira that we shouldn't have a social activity with them. You also can't have pickled vegetables that you put in wine or oil or vinegar. Now, even though it has wine and vinegar, it's not asabana because in the pickling process it disintegrates. V'toris trufa, and this is tuna that's chopped up. And since it's chopped up, it loses its scales and its fins, and you could mix in non-kosher fish. Tzir and brine, she'ein badoga kilbis sheitetis by, that the creature kilbis is not swimming in it. If it has the creature kilbis swimming in it, as we'll see from the next Mishnah, the creature kilbis does not, it happens to not be able to thrive in non-kosher brine. But if it doesn't have the kilbis in it, you have to worry that it's non-kosher brine. Chiluk is a type of fish. When it's small, it doesn't have scales and fins. Later on, it does have scales and fins, and it's kosher. But when it's small, it doesn't have scales and fins, and it could mix in other kinds that are non-kosher, and therefore you can't eat a batch of small chiluk. The karit shel chiltis, and the grain of the very sharp chiltis. Now, since this is a very sharp, not a grain, but a piece of this very sharp vegetable, because since it's very sharp, it absorbs from the belia of the knife that you cut it, and even if it's Eina ben Yaima, because it's so sharp, it makes it into nice and tam l'shvach, and therefore it's forbidden. And finally, Yomelech salkontis, the sankoltis salt. This was salt eaten by the aristocracy that they coated with lard. Harielu asurim, these are aser, but ve'eni surin iser hana. The iser is only an iser achila and not an iser hana. I just want to let the Olam know that this Sunday there's a very big exception. Normally my Daf Yomi is now at 8:15 or 8:20, but tomorrow, because my son Yaakov is making a bar mitzvah on my Enikal Aaron Tzvi, a one-time thing this Sunday, the Daf Yomi is at 5:30 p.m., 5:30 at RMMW, at zoomdaf.com, meeting code capital letters RMMW. And again, if you want to sponsor the shir, this week's Chumash shir, we do not yet have a sponsor, 718-916-3100, RMMWSI at AOL.com. Thank you for joining us, and have a good tavach.